special guest, Stan Lee. Oh, I'm sorry. What? He's not here? Sexual allegations. Oh. Okay. Stan Lee couldn't make it tonight. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Phantom Zone Movie Special. This is Iron Man we're talking about.
But you know who we do have? The quote-unquote real creators, Larry Lieber and Don Heck.
They're dead. They're dead. They're dead.
Nobody knows what they sound like also. So none of us could do an impression.
Know what this guy sounds like. What's he doing here? I don't even know.
Honestly, Larry Lieber is Stanley's brother.
Oh, God.
I'm Stan Lee. Sorry. I'm his brother.
It would be funny if it's the same voice, just a slightly higher octave.
He just doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah.
Anyway, hi, I'm Connor McGraw. Who else is here?
Hunter Davenport.
Arlen Harrow.
Eric Fedorchak.
And yours truly, Allan Muir.
Oh, he said his real name this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was expecting and yours truly, damaged baseball collector. Again, what is it? Fuck. What is Snake's name in Metal Gear Solid 5? Punished? There we go. Punished.
Yeah.
Punished baseball fan.
Punish or Venom.
There we go.
May have just spoiled the game for you guys.
I know how it ends, and quite frankly, I like the ending of Metal Gear Solid 5.
I do too. Fuck everyone else.
Everybody can eat me.
Wow, just turned into VGH for a minute there. I was about to run out of the room. Yeah.
Arlen acts like he's never played a video game in his life, and like recently, he's like, "Got an Xbox, boy, Shadow of Mordor is real fun."
No, Shadow of War.
Yeah, I played both of those games actually. I just
Oh boy.
I play a game every 6 months, and then never again.
And then he goes into his coffin.
Right.
And waits the next 6 months.
You should be picking up Injustice 2 and play that for the next 6 months.
Fighting
Do
games.
it.
I can't do fighting games.
Oh, it's so casual. It's not. I suck at fighting games. I love it. Actually, quick story. I went online for the first time to play against real people.
Oh no!
Connor.
I was promptly embarrassed. Like, I grabbed someone with like all level 20 gear, and I was like, this will be easy, because I went up against somebody that had 0 wins, 1 loss, level 1. I was like, oh, okay. And it was a best 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5. He beat me all 3 times.
Jeez.
Like effortlessly. Juggled me around. My near 3,000 defense with Batman meant absolutely dick, because I just got thrown around the arena for fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I don't do multiplayer anymore. Because those people are basically doing it on like an alt account.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
it's Call of Duty all over again.
And then he fucking leveled up on me, and I quit. That's what I was done.
Welcome
Anyway,
to fighting games.
we're talking about Iron Man, the MCU baby boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
MCU. By the time this comes out, it will be a
Watching
week
this
away
movie
from being
made me-
10 years old.
Watching this movie made me
crazy.
feel really old. I was like,
Yeah.
It didn't make me feel old. It made the MCU feel old.
It really does.
It's not old in the sense where it's like dated. It's just like, this has been going on this fucking long. Look at all these people's faces. Look who's around and not around.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I was saying to my wife when we were watching it. Was just the fact that like Robert Downey Jr. like you can see that they trimmed him up quite a bit following this movie. Like he looks like he has some baby fat on him.
He's got X-Men 1 Hugh Jackman physique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
got,
he totally does.
he still had some water weight from all the, the drinking and stuff like that.
It's like they didn't realize that they were doing with superheroes yet, and they had to look like them.
Also,
Yeah.
if you think about it, he is kind of playing himself, and he's playing a character who's appropriately aged, so it kind of works. Because
yeah, I get. Yeah,
it works. Yeah.
No, it definitely does.
I also like how Rhodey seemingly shapeshifts between.
Terrence Howard. He regenerated from Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle.
Yep, he was shot by a Cyberman, and
he's a skinwalker essentially.
What did somebody in the group say? He's a Skrull.
He's a Skrull.
But
That's a better explanation.
It is weird because his performance is so different.
It is very different.
Terrence Howard is just a hair more snarky than Don Cheadle.
And
Don Cheadle's kind of like your cool uncle, and like and like Terrence Howard is like your full on like drunk best friend.
Yeah.
It's just
And the jokes per minute with Cheadle is different. Like, he's just like, it's just zingers all the time. Whereas this roadie, he tends to lean more serious and more like...
This roadie got to do stuff that actually involves his, like, career choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, got to actually, like, be an experienced Air Force member.
Yeah, but
other than
Don
just show
Cheadle,
up in uniform.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle got to buy guns from what the fuck is his name?
Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer, yeah.
He also had,
And-
he also had the ex-wife missile fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good lord. The opening stuff aged not poorly, just strangely. Because I'm like, this movie came out in 2008, and like some of these problems have not gone away.
Nope.
No, not at all.
And
Not at all.
And it was like...
And this is not to get strangely, like, weirdly political or, global, but like, this is pre-ISIS, isn't it?
Yeah, this is pre-ISIS.
This is the Taliban? Yeah, this is the Taliban.
This is still, it's still the Taliban. It's still Al-Qaeda. And it's...
We went through a different faction
Whoa.
altogether.
This is America. We can't call them that. We have to call them the opposing forces.
Oh my, wow.
And this is like, this is the tail end of George Bush's presidency, and there's a sense of like, we're making fun of this, and we don't have to worry about this war hawkishness ever again. Like, there's kind of a joking lightness about like, oh, we're going to be done with this war anytime soon, so it's fine if we comment on it in this movie.
It's like the I don't want to say it's not. It's still kind of like, what the fuck? Like, watching this movie is like, holy shit. But I'm really interested in what you all think about the escape scene, because that is, I was wondering how that would age, and like, it doesn't seem like it has aged all that much.
Looks fucking beautiful.
It's perfect. It's so perfect.
I'm gonna come out and say it. I don't feel any of the special effects of this movie have aged at all.
No. And it's so weird because like, if you go back and watch Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh God, no!
It's like going back to a PS2 game.
I
or an early PS3 game.
I have a memory
really
about the whole lead up to Iron Man.
Ooh, do tell.
Oh.
It was back in 07. My sister's asshole of a boyfriend's cat stole my room from me.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, how? Wait.
What?
Was it a tiger?
The cat stole a room from you?
Yeah.
How?
Allan, you might be the most punked person by a cat I've ever heard of.
This explains her hatred of cats.
Yeah.
Do you just not know how to pick up a cat?
Dude,
It's really
throw him out of the room. You're bigger than him.
Literally,
Get
like
a
if
spray bottle.
If Archie is somewhere I don't want to be, I just toss him out of my room. Like,
Yeah.
If I went, no, the cat wouldn't let me. If I went near him, he'd.
Okay, pour a bucket of water on him. He'll
Yeah,
run away.
you know what he wouldn't swat at? A hose.
yeah. Assert dominance.
But
Yeah, this wasn't an
was-
Australian cat.
Oh, the famous poisonous cats of Australia.
Well, also like
Drop cats.
just domestic cats grow to like 3 times the size or whatever because
I
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, they
I
grow
want to
bigger.
hear how Allan took his room back from a cat.
I really do
You're
too.
on Catcast.
I don't remember how.
What
I
it,
got
okay,
that.
I'd like to know what this has to do with Iron Man.
I never
Yeah.
got it back.
So
Is this
I was. No. This is going somewhere.
okay? I think I know where it's going, but I'll wait. I'll let this.
God.
I'll let this breathe.
Fucking killed me.
I was watching G4 and they were doing their Comic-Con coverage,
Okay.
and and it was the first trailer for Iron Man, where it shows him, showed Robert Downey Jr. in building the first suit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the
and
same.
how everyone was going apeshit.
It's the same trailer that if you watched the first Transformers movie, and if you were watching it on DVD or Blu-ray, and you watched it till the very end of the credits, they would show a trailer for Iron Man, but it was never like a special feature on the menu. You had to wait for the movie to end to watch it.
Oh my god, that's because Paramount. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's
sounds
so
like
weird.
agony.
It does. It
You
is.
know, back to what Allan was saying, I was actually 7, if I remember correctly.
I think you dropped out for that whole sentence.
Back to what Allan was saying, I was actually working that Comic-Con.
Oh shit!
It was back in 2007, if I remember correctly. And one of the big things was on Saturday. Well, when I first got there on Friday, they just had an area at the Marvel section that just had a large crate marked Stark Industries. And I kind of knew what was coming, but on Saturday when I went in, they'd revealed the crate, and it was the Iron Man armor he built while he was in the cave.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
yeah,
it was so rad.
The Silver Age.
Yeah.
So, another thing to Marvel's credit, like, about this movie, I remember the lead up is like no one had any idea who the fuck Iron Man was at the time.
No, not a household name, not in the slightest.
Like, the big ones were like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Hulk. Some people knew Captain America, but that was just like cursory.
I mean, it's Captain America, so you're gonna know Captain America.
Look at the successful comic book movies before this: X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, X-Men and Spider-Man.
There you go.
And like that's like the kind of amazing thing about the MCU is that like it pushed these characters into the public eye. Like
yeah.
And
Iron Man's success, like you can't say it's because of the cast. You kind of have to chalk it up to the marketing and like people reviewing it and really liking it. Like that movie doesn't work if there aren't. I remember like hundreds of times watching the same preview where like every single critic worth knowing had a thing up saying 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 4 or whatever. And I remember that being how they marketed the movie. Like this was a movie that people loved when it first came out.
Yeah.
And that's why people kept on going to see it.
Well, I would argue against your point saying it wasn't the cast, because Robert Downey Jr. was firing on all cylinders with this movie.
I'm not
like,
I think this was
like
his
he didn't
return,
sell
was
the
it not?
movie.
This was his big like comeback after the whole heroin fiasco.
Yeah, well, I mean, he'd done some smaller films here and there, and that showed that he still had ability.
He did that movie with Anton Yelchin.
Right.
No idea.
Nobody knows. That's what I mean. Nobody went to the
Zodiac
theater.
at that time too, didn't he?
Yes,
he did
he did.
Zodiac
Yeah,
in
he did.
2006. But like,
But the movie was it was in development since 2005.
yeah. I mean, a lot of it, like Black Panther. If you watch the behind the scenes for Blade, they were talking about Black Panther then, and that's how Wesley Snipes ended up on Blade. So they've been working on a lot of these movies, and I remember when this came out, there was, if you checked IMDb, they had like 15 different projects from Marvel that were all in development, and one of them was like a Nick Fury movie.
Also, Ant-Man.
Yeah, that was the thing. So Ant-Man was supposed to come out in this first set of movies. It just didn't happen that way.
I think
That makes
plans
sense.
changed and like
Yeah.
Well, no, I can see them. The original plan was to have the original Avengers all have their first film, and then do an Avengers film, and then move from there.
even like you look back at like even like in the Ultimates, like reading the Ultimate Avengers, like they're very clearly like seeding the idea that we're gonna make movies out of these.
Oh,
like,
that's such a that one page is the most self-fulfilling prophecy I've ever seen.
yeah.
Like Nick Fury at that point, like he's blackballed. Nick Fury says, like, you know who'd play me in a movie? Nobody but Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, and then it happened.
And oh god, can we talk about that moment?
Yes, we can. 'Cause that's,
If you want someone to yell at,
that moment is probably the reason we're all here.
Yeah,
if you want someone to, for those of you racists who don't like
Okay.
this
Oh,
Nick
yeah.
Fury,
Allan leaning in hard.
I like how Al is firing all cylinders today. It's awesome.
He really is. He's going full Applejacks right now.
1, go fuck yourself. 2, get out of my goddamn country. We don't want you.
Wow. Oh.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly
I'm talking to the
message.
racists. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking straight to the racists.
Well, as I've always said, subscribe to our podcast first, and then leave the country.
And then fuck off and die.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
if there's anyone for those racists, if you're mad, if you're just I don't know why you'd be mad about Nick Fury because maybe you're a 56-year-old who read him in the 50s.
Man, I like that we found something that fucking got Allan's goat. Holy shit.
Okay, wait a second. Okay.
Damn.
Did this...
This is gonna be an Al episode.
I'm waiting.
Shit.
I'm trying to
Dude,
connect
hang
the
on.
dots here.
Is Chris here in secret and Allan's just like feeding off the energy? Like,
Maybe. Jeez.
No, I honestly, what got me going is I read a bunch of Donald Trump stuff
ooh.
and got
Okay.
angry off that.
Let's
That'll
not
do it.
even.
So I'm gonna go
Let's not-
back to what
no.
you were saying before you went on that tangent. It sounded like you were saying you were gonna connect Star Wars and John Boyega to Nick Fury in some way. That's where it felt like you were going.
But it's kind of the same thing, really, if you think
Kind
about
of.
it.
No, I was gonna say that it was Brian Hitch, notable for the crappy DC Rebirth Justice League series, who designed that version of Nick Fury, made him like totally on purpose. Drew him like Sam Jackson, just like Mike
Right.
Deodato draws Norman Osborn as Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty common
Yeah.
practice to take
And Tommy Lee
celebrities.
Jones has never been Spider-Man. Norman Osborn, not Spider-Man. That would be a different movie
That'd be a
entirely.
fantastic Spider-Man movie, though.
That's if
As-
they do
as you
Downfall, or what is that one that you guys hate with the
Oh,
fucking
Rain.
active
Oh my
Rain?
god.
If they ever did Rain, but with Tommy Lee Jones as
Can you imagine
I would-
Tommy Lee Jones doing the entire monologue where he talks about killing Mary Jane with radioactive sperm? well, I'm sorry, it just happened.
Well, it's,
But
you
it's-
just,
but
you
it's
just
like-
say
he's
to a
like-
corpse that I
he's-
can't stand for your buffoonery, like you did to Jim Carrey on the Batman Returns set, or Batman.
No, he says that to fucking corpse octopus.
I can't abide your buffoonery.
God damn.
I cannot abide by your tomfoolery. Anyway, yeah, the Mark I suit in this movie is a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
I
And
can't
it's all-
believe they
it's
did it.
most-
I still can't believe they did it. Like,
it-
I was
just-
watching this and just pondering for the first time ever, like, the logistics of an Iron Man suit. And I think this one struck out to me the most because it's the most primitive and probably requires so much extra shit just to function. I'm like, God damn, being inside that thing must be like being inside of a garbage compactor.
yeah,
Yeah.
he made it out of box of straps in the desert, in a cave in a desert.
yeah, and he
That's
didn't
fine,
have
the whole
like
movie, by the way.
cooling jackets or anything. It's just
Box
It-
of straps.
it's out of a box of scraps.
Okay, let's just get right to Jeff Bridges in this movie. Like,
He's so good.
did he like walk in and think like, yeah, I'm just playing the dude if he went to become a CEO?
I think
Yeah.
so. I
No,
think-
he's playing the other Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
good point.
Maybe.
It's like one of those Jeff Bridges performances I've ever seen.
I
Oh
think.
my god, I
so
love it
this is-
so much.
I think this is a prototype for at least the first part before he like turns like full bad guy. Which there's a turn where he just goes from like, okay, he's a reasonable character with kind of reasonable, reasons for what he's doing, into just full on chewing of the scenery villain. But up until that point,
Yeah, and this is like, it's funny because like as much as this movie did give us that's beneficial, this movie also kickstarted the shitty villain,
I don't think it did though. I think it.
the shitty disposable villain.
I
Well,
will
not
say,
just
Obadiah
that.
Stane-
It gave us the Marvel cinematic or the Marvel movie method.
It did. It gave us the format, but I feel like this character is like a prototype for the adult version of Kevin Flynn from the Tron movie.
Sure, yeah.
Like it's very similar. It's very similar. It's like
I
hippie
don't think-
businessman almost.
I don't think he's a bad villain per se. I think he's a bad villain when he gets in the suit.
Right. I
He's-
think that he
honestly-
goes
and I was
downhill
actually-
very
I was
rapidly.
watching something. I can't remember what channel it's called, but it was called Superhero Movies and the Problem with the Big Gray Villain or something like that. And he basically chronicles all the way back to this movie and says like, it's like these movies can be fantastic for 99% of the time, but then big gray villain. and he breaks down like Ironmonger, Whiplash, Doomsday, fucking Steppenwolf, all these like just disposable, poorly lit, big gray villains. And this was our first one.
I feel like the problem with putting him in that group is that before he turns full villain, you kind of care about him more than any of the villains you just listed off.
Before his turn, he's a cool guy who's like Tony's fucking cool uncle.
Yeah. And you like him. Like he's a cigar smoking, pizza eating, fucking smart, rich wise ass. Like there's nothing bad about him. And
I did like the fucking scene where Tony does one of a few where he goes, "I'm going to my room and play my toys, Dad."
Right.
With the fucking pizza, he's like, "Fine, I'm taking this." It's like, "No, you can't have this. Fine, take one slice."
You don't get the pizza. Here, take a slice. Take two. You brought home pizza from New York. Must have been bad news. I love that. But
even when he's like, "Who do you think is the one who put the injunction against you?" He says it with like, "I'm still your friend, pal."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I'm looking out for your best interests. And I think we talk about this on the CW shows all the time. Adrian Chase was a good villain because we cared about him before he turned bad. Or before we knew he was bad. I cared about this guy, so when he turned bad, it made a difference to me. Whereas I think someone like Yellow Jacket doesn't work is... I didn't give a fuck about Yellow Jacket before he turned full villain.
The Greasy Smear?
I love that actor, too. I can't remember his name, but he's in The Strain.
Corey Stoll?
Yes, I think he's fantastic, and it sucks. I'm like, Yellow Jacket looks cool, got a cool actor, totally disposable.
I think the problem with Yellow Jacket is that he goes crazy too fast.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
he's full on insane by halfway through the movie.
Like, I'm an ambitious businessman to like, I'm going to turn you into goop in the bathroom. Don't ask questions.
So
that was a cool scene, though.
Can I just quickly say my problem with the whole Yellow Jacket strain thing?
Sure,
I guess.
Why not?
He what did he shave his head for? House of Cards.
His head has always been
bald.
shaved.
Yeah, that's called balding.
In The Strain,
Male
they made him wear a
baldness.
wig.
Google it.
It's a very obvious wig in The Strain. Like, you can see where they've glued the hair. Because...
Oh, see, I didn't know he was naturally bald, and that all of a sudden makes the first season of The Strain make way more sense visually, because his hair does look very funny.
Yeah.
It looks like Vin Diesel's hair in that one movie where he had hair.
It looks like...
hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he played a lawyer of some sort.
Or if you like, in Saving Private Ryan, he has quite a bit of hair compared to other movies. God damn it. Oh, Garth.
He just stands up in the middle of a courtroom and says, "Family."
Family.
The judge is like, "Sit down."
And no, Jason Statham can't be in your family.
Oh, man, he let the man who murdered his friend hold his son. Anyway.
That movie series... Okay, quick tangent. That movie series is really fucking weird.
It's wrestling the movie. That's all
it is.
Oh my god, that's the best fucking description I've heard of those movies ever. Where allegiances and character development don't actually matter because it's just leading to the next big twist.
Right, it always has been.
And continuity is fucking disposable, and who cares?
Like, the whole fourth movie and fifth movie are setting up Michelle Rodriguez turning heel. And then each movie from that is like, oh, this guy, he's actually bad. Or this guy, he's actually good.
Michelle Rodriguez dies, and they're like, "Swerve, she's alive."
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I got told, I pretty much got called out by Tim Geddes on of Kind of Funny fame.
Okay.
I was watching an episode of Colin and Greg Live, and I was like, I forgot what the viewing order I did. He's like, "Dude, you have to do Tokyo Drift. You have to do it chronologically."
I mean,
how about you just don't watch Tokyo Drift?
Yeah, you just skip to 5 because everything you need to know is there. Read the wiki for 4. So you know Gal Gadot was a bad guy at first. So
Oh no, I saw that one.
yeah, I know. I'm talking to Allan.
Ow.
I'm obviously not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience who's listening to the show that hasn't watched the Fast and the Furious movies.
We're also probably here to listen to us talk about Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right. Which we keep on getting off the topic of.
Well, it's like
Let's stay on topic, because this movie is actually fantastic. So
it's
Wait,
very
just
good
one,
movie.
just one last thing.
Oh
Can
my
the
god, Alan.
Can the episode art be
Vin Diesel in the Iron Man suit? Yes.
no Iron Man often in the team shot
Mm-hmm.
and
Please no.
from pre Paul Walker death?
A bird.
There are many
Hey.
things that I might do. I might do Tony blowing up Frank the Tank. Who knows?
No, stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
That
Yes.
that is all you're doing. Stop. Full stop right there. Anyway, I was gonna say when I was talking about the Mark I suit and how beautiful it still looks. I am actually a bigger fan of this movie's primary suit than I am of his later designs.
It's like it's the most simple one. So like
Yeah.
Yes,
nice, it's clean. Like
I think I like
Yeah.
the briefcase suit, and like the Iron Man 2 suit is alright because that's where he gets like the new arc reactor and everything. But like, I'm not a fan of the Iron Man 3 suit that has that weird kind of like faded poop brown gold color to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of the all gold. I'm not a fan of like. I think that this look is the best. This and the Avengers, the very first.
I'm
The
a
design-
huge Hulkbuster mark, but I do think that the Mark One, the suit in this movie, the
Yeah.
I think it would be the Mark 2 or 3.
Mark
actually.
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the better ones.
I like, and the designs of his suit just get lost in the shuffle in later movies because they're so like it's so oversimplified and kind of just there. That There's no details.
Well, that was the thing with this one, that they actually really focused on showing you how he was building it and how much work he put into it.
Mhm.
And all the other ones have just kind of been glossing over it, like, oh yeah, he made a better one. Oh, he made improvements. Oh, he did
They've,
this.
they've glossed over it so hard that he blew up all the suits and then had all the suits.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, it's gotten to the point where he cannot even be in the room anymore, and I think at that point it becomes a problem for the movies. Actually, like the sense of danger kind of goes away when he can just sort of like summon a new suit from anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that if he survives Infinity War, they need to move away from.
But he's not.
Yeah, probably.
Well, now that they've revealed that Avengers 4 is going to be a time travel movie, I don't think anybody survives, to be honest.
Wait, what?
They revealed that Avengers 4 is going to be a time travel movie.
Well, I mean,
Interesting.
I assumed as much because time gem, and I mean,
Yeah.
I've been on the okay, well, everybody's gonna die, and then the time gem's gonna reverse it. Like that's just it makes sense. So
Anyway, yeah, I like the suit. The way his suit looks better than this. The sequence where he goes to the Middle East to stop that kind of what is it? Like it's an arms deal, but it's also a massacre.
no, it's like a genocide. Like
Yeah,
the
it's kind of
10
fucked
rings, the 10 rings, by the way.
Yeah,
The
the Mandarin reference that's not a Mandarin reference.
Because the 10 rings. Okay, so this is early MCU canon is not as well thought out as current MCU canon, apparently.
not
no.
in the slightest.
Because this 10 rings is nothing like the Mandarin's 10 rings, and they're supposed to be the same organization, and it makes no sense. So yeah, I don't. Maybe Killian, like, he knew about the 10 rings, he knew that they're the ones who abducted Stark, and he just took the name to piss off Stark? I don't know.
Well,
But then,
quick,
I don't know. Did he know Obadiah Stane? Like, it's a mess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
because they
all
were
I
supposed
needed
to
to
be
know
working
was
with him.
who's the I don't know the name of the guy who captures him, but who Stane is working with. But as long as he knows his name,
either.
But yeah, it's
Well, I was just going to say, quick side note. I thought in the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray, one of the extra scenes implied that what's his face, who played the Mandarin in
Trevor
that.
Slattery.
Yeah. That he actually wasn't the real Mandarin.
Correct.
Like that there actually was someone else who was the real Mandarin, which they left that open, which they're never going to touch ever again.
Mm-mm.
No, it's just to shut up very bad fanboys who can't shut up about things that they don't like. Guys, this is a problem that keeps on coming up.
No, listen. They could not have done the Mandarin at all.
No, they couldn't.
No, not then. They can in the future, and I mean.
I'm
Well,
sure
also,
they...
like, isn't the Mandarin kind of rooted in, like, kind of weird, xenophobic, kind of yellow face
Yes.
kind of
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
He's Fu Manchu with alien rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do the Mandarin now, for one, he should never be an Iron Man villain. He should be a Doctor Strange villain.
That could work.
Because that makes actual sense.
Yeah.
That and, like, the Mandarin they did for 3 works because, again, the original Mandarin is this weird kind of offensive Japanese stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
So in the modern day, if you were to take something like that and make him, quote unquote, the figurehead of a terrorist organization, it just works better for the time period it came out in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can just have him be like a previous Ancient One student in the Doctor Strange movies.
Yeah.
If you do the real
That's actually a good idea.
Mandarin.
With 10 rings.
Right.
I also want to bring up, I can't remember his name. I made a point to learn it while I was watching it. The man trapped in the cave with Tony.
Oh, Jensen.
Oh, Jensen.
Jensen. Yeah. I think a lot of people forget how important he is to Tony's entire journey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He is, but
Because,
Marvel
like,
forgot
for
the
him.
lesson that character teaches. They forgot the importance of characters like that, where you don't need to kill off a person per movie, or even every other movie, but you do need to have stakes and consequences to things that happen, and you can't just undo them when it serves the story that you're telling.
Yeah, and Jensen's death sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Like, he's riddled with gunfire by a bunch of terrorists and tells Tony, like, my family's dead. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important. It gives this movie stakes that a lot of the other Marvel movies don't.
And,
have.
like, in addition to, like, being captured and, I wouldn't say tortured, but, like, they're put in crappy conditions and locked in a room and are giving death threats. Like, I think Tony needed something, like, this dude needed to be scared the fuck out of and really have some kind of emotional investment in all this. Or, like, I don't think he would have come back and be like, yeah, I'm not going to make weapons anymore. Unless, if someone hadn't literally died for him.
Yeah. And the soldiers at the beginning, if that hadn't happened too.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get into it, but when the soldiers die in the beginning, it's very real. And they don't shy away from any of it. You see, like, Tony bleeding out in a PG-13 movie, which is something that never happens. So it's impressive on that end.
Well, especially because you spend quite a few minutes with these soldiers, and they're all palling around. And there's no reason to think that anything bad is going to happen.
This movie is like, I don't want to say it's dark, but it's like it's very adult. Like, it's not. It treats kind of like the audience is like, all right, Marvel Comics isn't for kids. This is kind of like, this is just for kids. Sorry.
Well, because it's dealing with a guy who's like kind of up there in age, whose legacy is destruction, and then like when faced with that, he decides to like better himself in the most fucking powerful way he can think of.
Yeah.
Right.
And because he's also a man-child, like, and that's just part of his character. Like, his solution is to build this hot rod suit of armor and go literally jump into the Middle East and start shooting people.
Well, on an even wider view, too, I mean, Marvel had to come out swinging with this movie.
Yeah.
If this didn't succeed, like, Marvel, I don't think, would have continued down the movie route.
No. Nope.
And we've talked about this on Daredevil. I brought it up again on Ghost Rider. Kevin Feige was on all those previous movies, all the 2000 to 2007 movies. He was involved. And the problem with all of them, even the ones that are good, is the tone is messed up on all of those movies. It's inconsistent from scene to scene. The biggest problem with Daredevil is that there are scenes where it is not a serious movie at all, where it's almost like a romantic comedy, and then there are scenes that are very, very, very dark.
I'm getting angry just thinking about it.
And then we talked about Ghost Rider. It's a movie that it's so inconsistent with its tone as well. Same director, Go figure. Ghost Riders, but that's a different topic.
Well,
Riders on
speaking of directors, though, I think that's also where Marvel realized that this could be their bread and butter is with having John Favreau come in, like someone who doesn't have a whole lot of films under his belt, but what he does have is very good. While I feel like the other directors, I don't even know who directed Daredevil and Ghost Rider, and if he had any actual successes before those films.
Mark Steven Johnson. He did nothing else other than those movies. Nothing of note. I know he did another movie after the fact.
Those are enough to put you in movie jail for quite a long time.
Yeah,
forever. But I mean, that's just John Favreau was such an inspired choice as director because this was completely outside of his wheelhouse as well.
Yeah, because I mean, how many people on this podcast have actually seen Zathura?
Not me.
I have.
Wait,
I have.
He fucking directed Zathura?
Yes.
Yeah, he also direct Jumanji?
And if you watch Zathura, you can see where Iron Man comes from. Like
Oh yeah, no. John Favreau, like, I don't know if I watched Jungle Book recently, and that is a very John Favreau movie. Like, he has a very specific way of doing things. Like, you can see traces of Iron Man and like all this stuff and everything he does. It's like interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess all people really would have known was Elf at the time that this came out. So I do see why this would have been surprising. Because
he also had Swingers.
Movie. Yeah.
That was what I knew him from going into this.
Yeah. I can see that.
Well, I think down the line they end up taking like John Favreau's an inspired choice, but like to take Scott Derrickson, who is really known for
Horror.
Sinister. Yeah.
And Hellraiser
Sinister.
in space.
Yeah. And you effectively made him a successful Hollywood filmmaker just because he made a Doctor Strange movie that most people liked and it did well at the box office.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't
who directed Ant-Man? I can't remember.
He hadn't directed much before, but he's in the...
he did I want to say he does like mostly romantic comedies, doesn't he?
He writes and directs a lot of comedy TV shows, but
yes.
Yeah.
And his last movie was like a musical comedy.
And then Spider-Man: Homecoming was directed by someone who made like a short film, and that was it.
No.
He made a cop car.
Oh no, that was I'm thinking of the guy who directed The Amazing Spider-Man.
He did Cop Car, really?
Yeah, he did Cop Car.
That's awesome.
Well, no, Amazing Spider-Man was directed by Mark Webb, who did 500 Days of Summer.
That's what I was thinking of.
And like, I don't know, this is not going to turn into a Amazing Spider-Man talk, but like, the weird distance between the first movie and the second movie is hilarious because first movie it's like, yeah, you kind of know what you're doing. This isn't terrible. Second movie, it's like, did you forget everything in between? Like. And Sony's over in the corner like, we had nothing to do with this. Which goes to my point, like, I think Marvel can take any director and kind of be like, make them a success, and then Sony couldn't.
Yeah.
Sony, like, I'm not... How do I put this? Marvel is really into taking, like, unknown directors and, like, not saying that they're like bad directors, but like relatively not auteurs maybe. But like
you're not wrong. Like they're not going for Matt Reeves or Dane Trachtenberg. They're going for people who are a little bit lower on the totem pole, but who are willing to take criticism, and work with them.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. I don't.
Well, no,
think,
it's not because you have to respect Marvel for always sticking to their guns, and if somebody comes along that has an idea that deviates from the plan, that's a no-go.
Yeah, I mean,
because they have a plan.
Yeah,
but
you can't walk in and be like, "What if I make this change?" Like, no, we have to get from point A to point B, which at this point has actually starting to hurt them a little more than help them.
Yeah. No, we could sit here and talk about all day about how this whole thing is like heading towards them either changing or scrapping it, but like. I just think this movie with like what did John Favreau like we were just saying Elf was the thing that everyone knew it from.
It's the thing that I think most people would have known.
See, I know him from Swingers.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really those two. So if you take those two movies and somebody tells you he's directing Iron Man, what are you gonna make of that? Like,
Yeah, you don't know. Like,
yeah, again, unless you're me and Hunter and you saw Zathura and you know John Favreau's name at
I
the
wish
age
I
of
could.
11.
Well,
gonna be real honest, I wish I could unsee Zathura.
I actually like that movie quite a bit, but yeah,
I'm not a
get
fan,
it.
but
Yeah.
real quick, back to Marvel with their choice of directors. Partially, I think it's that they have somebody who actually sees something in some of these directors. Because James Gunn has actually directed the two that I've seen that I really enjoyed. I mean, his Trauma films were Trauma films, but
yeah,
Super
You can't-
and
it's- yeah.
Slither.
yeah.
It's not
Like-
fair to if anyone has worked for Trauma, it's not fair to base them on their work for Trauma because
Exactly.
Trauma is something else.
Trauma be trauma. Let's just leave it at that.
But I mean, that's something that, like, the minute I heard he was involved with Marvel and what the property he got, I was actually automatically excited because I knew if he had the money and the push of proper production, he could do something amazing.
He's also I follow him on Facebook and he is like the nicest dude.
Yeah,
Like,
he is.
Has like long-winded and passionate like little written monologues about like the state of like damn near everything. Like related to his career right now.
There was I think there was a really great story he told about Vin Diesel, like how Vin Diesel, like, he was like having a depressive episode or something, and Vin Diesel flew to him, like,
Holy
essentially.
shit.
Yeah, I saw he posted on Facebook like a while back, but like he like flew. He was in like Vegas or something, and he flew halfway across the country to go to James Gunn, like.
Because Vin Diesel's like a really cool guy, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who loves D&D. Go see The Last Witch.
He's kind of like the Forrest Gump of Hollywood, because
he tried to remember that time he tried to sell us Street Sharks?
I was just about to say that, you motherfucker.
No,
yeah,
it
was pretty awesome.
I had to make up for I had two jokes stolen from me in a movie dumpster, okay? So I'm feeling very vengeful.
So, okay, but not to go off topic of Iron Man, like, I want to go back to that real quick. What was I gonna say? Going back to like Obadiah Stane, and like, they're like Obadiah Stane and John Favreau, like they pretty much knew what they were doing from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't think you need to really direct Jeff Bridges.
No, Jeff Bridges just shows up and then
Let
just
him
go with it.
let him just talk. They didn't even give him a script. He was just like, all right.
No, that's
Okay,
right.
so
They
I
would
also
they
wanna
would
add-
just improvise on set during that first movie. Apparently.
Really? Is that a true thing?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a
it
real
is.
thing. They would just improvise, like,
I bet the
They
box of
had-
scraps line was improvised. That and the burger.
probably.
They had a 2-camera setup. That one was picking up all of the improvised stuff, and then the other one was when they were doing the actual scripted stuff,
Speaking-
and they would
speaking
decide
of
what
that-
they wanted to use.
Speaking of that burger line, that is still one of my like favorite gags
Mhm.
of this like in the MCU. Like, it's just so classic. Like,
Yeah. Like,
he comes
Wait,
back, the first thing he
I
wants
have
is
a-
McDonald's.
I have a fun fact about the Tony Stark built a suit from a bunch of scraps,
mhm.
and the guy says, "Well, I'm not Tony Stark. Ralphie from A Christmas Story."
Oh, he came up with that line?
No,
No,
he-
I think
that's him.
That's who Jeff Bridges is yelling at.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was also he was a producer on Iron Man as well.
What?
okay,
Yeah.
no, I don't think that's true. I have to make sure of this. I think you're confused, Alan. No, the guy Ralphie is like, for one, he has hair still. Okay, let's continue. Keep on going while I look this up, because Alan just threw something out that needs to be investigated.
There's two more actors I want to talk about in this movie, and the first one is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. What happened to her?
Well, I mean, first, it's like she's fine as Pepper Potts. Hell, she's fantastic as Pepper Potts.
Yeah, she's great.
And then it's one of those things where it's like, but in real life, you're totally nuts.
You're crazy.
You're a crazy woman who sells rocks to people, and you tell them it'll heal their babies.
You stick them on up there.
Tell
Fucking
people about
God
vaginal
damn it.
steaming. Yeah.
Like,
She's I can't tell if she's better or worse than the people who. This is a job-related thing here. I guess there's holistic pet medicine, and some of it involves like rubbing magnets on your dog. Yeah,
No.
it's that level of bullshit. But like, yeah, she's fine as Pepper Potts, and like, I'm kind of bummed that like later on in the series, she just gets fucking phased out and then phased back in.
No.
They completely they
They basically get to Jane fostering her and then renege.
Yeah, and then in Spider-Man: Homecoming, they resolve like a 7-year-old plot line.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course Terrence Howard.
Yeah. Oh God.
Let's talk a little more about him.
Man, I don't know if I like Don Cheadle a little bit more, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I do
Kind
too.
of.
I have another fact.
Okay.
Terrence Howard was the highest paid person in the film.
Oh, this I
What?
heard.
It's well known.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is why he was replaced, because he was apparently asking for too much for Iron Man 2, and they're like, no, you're not the star.
Also, Allan was
Well,
right, I guess, about the
Yeah, he
Peter
was.
Billingsley. Terrence Howard is. I like him in this movie though, even though he's not my favorite part. I think he's good in most of the scenes. I think he works, and I think him and Robert Downey Jr. have a weird chemistry.
They do. They're him and Cheadle aren't as snappy together, and these two are.
Yeah.
And the War Machine tease, looking back on it, is so fucking cool.
Yes.
Because I didn't think I'd get to see a fucking War Machine on screen before I died, and I've seen it now 4 times.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly 4 times.
But yeah.
More than I ever bargained for.
What we really got to talk about is Tony's phone. The
Yes.
LG
Oh god,
VCast.
Whoa.
his futuristic-y LG phone.
Yes.
That's
That-
probably gonna be
now-
a real thing. That's a
For-
real thing, isn't it?
For those who don't
Now
remember this
rendered
phone,
obsolete.
this phone, in the marketing from Verizon, the big seller was that this phone would receive television signals. So you could watch the basic weather channels and stuff like that. Here it's 246 or whatever.
Dude,
That is hilarious.
Facebook and Spotify are absolute drains on my monthly data. I can't imagine that little piece of shit would have been able to sustain.
yeah. But
But he's also he's Tony Stark, so like.
also, I love that OB is naked. Like he just like that's great. I don't know why, but it's just great. Tony's very comfortable with Obi in that moment. So yeah, that's the thing.
Wait, where's this?
So
This
when
is
they're
in
in
the
the
very
desert,
beginning of the
and-
movie.
yeah, after he's given him like the thing, he's
when he
like,
goes into the Fun V.
yeah, he's like video
That's
chatting
funny.
with Obi.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Can we
yeah.
talk about the Fun V for a second? How that is like the most tone setting. Like after going through like Incredible Hulk, and like Incredible Hulk was first before Iron Man, right? Correct?
No,
No,
it was
no,
a month
no, it's the
after.
other way around.
Okay, no, I mean, okay, yeah, all right, you're right. But like going through like let's say Punisher and like Daredevil and like the Ang Lee Hulk, how different that is from what they were trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the time, like I remember watching it, I was like, this is different than what they've
That's
done.
because this movie has wit sharper than all the movies you just listed.
And the Fun V is a great bit. Like,
Well, because it gets
Yeah,
called
the,
back on, like,
humdrum
hey,
V is
hey,
over
how
there.
about that Humvee ride? How about that Fun V ride? And he goes to pick him out of that desert.
So good.
The comedy in this movie is also, it hasn't aged a day.
Nope.
When she walks in and him having the suit taken off, he just pauses and goes, "Look, this isn't the worst thing you've walked in on me doing, okay?"
It's okay.
That like, I think later on some of the MCU jokes will get old fast.
Mhm.
But this hasn't. Like I said, this is the baby boy of the MCU.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of like sweet and innocent about it. It seems.
Yeah.
yeah,
There really is, but there's a sense of like there's a hunger to it almost.
Yeah,
Like you can
there
feel
definitely is.
like they're really like
Oh,
trying.
that is, first of all, the hunger and ambition like can be summed up as soon as Sam Jackson says, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative."
Yeah.
Like
and it's the coolest thing.
at
Like,
the time, you're like, shut the fuck up.
So
What?
some-
okay, I'm
something
about
just-
to make Connor feel real old right now.
Oh,
I was
fuck
in eighth.
you.
I was in 8th grade when this
Shut
movie
up.
came out.
Yeah,
Shut
I
up.
was entering high school.
I was
Man,
old enough to
I was-
drink.
I was
I was
losing
also
my
old
mind.
enough to drink.
Like,
I was-
like when
I walked into my freshman homeroom class, and all we did was talk about Iron Man and The Dark Knight because they came out that summer.
I was working in a movie theater in Toms River, New Jersey, and I was probably around 40 pounds heavier.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
Like,
fun.
I was 30.
I was what, 22?
sorry, Eric.
Maybe?
Sorry.
Oh, I
so
don't care.
sorry.
Whatever, man.
I keep
I don't need
forgetting.
to apologize.
I keep forgetting you're like older than all of us.
Yeah.
By
Honestly.
quite
Yeah.
a bit.
No offense, Eric, but it's kind of nice to finally not be the old guy in the podcast.
But, like, yeah.
So,
Like,
We need to have Gary on one of these
yeah, we do.
episodes.
So all three of us can just yell at clouds.
Yeah.
It's up in the cloud. What cloud?
My point is like, I'm here to talk about the Avengers Initiative. Blew my mind as a kid because like, no one knew who the fucking Avengers were.
Right.
Like at that time, like hyper nerds like me and
Shit, I mean, even me, like I wasn't really reading a lot of Marvel at the time. I don't think I read that much Marvel when I was little. I only had a fleeting understanding of what the Avengers actually were. I know who they were in regards to, who's in the team. But anything beyond that is, I didn't know.
There's also the whole Coulson strategic
Yeah.
homeland.
Yeah, that's
and
what got me.
I imagine I
Same-
imagine like
how-
super nerds in the theater when he says that. I imagine them getting it way before everybody else and be like, "Holy shit, they're not doing it, are they? They're not doing
Dude,
the
how
shield."
much do you guys miss Phil Coulson from these movies?
God, he's so good.
now
think
that he's
his-
rendered to be a TV star.
I think
He's
his
Baby
character
Phil.
has been very poorly handed off.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking about him being on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm talking about the fact that, like, this person that apparently meant a lot to everybody in the Avengers is somewhere out there alive and well, and nobody fucking talks about him.
Yeah. Because
Well, no one has Nick Fury not told them. Like,
no, I don't think he has ever. I don't think it's
But
ever
even,
come
but
up.
even Nick Fury doesn't talk about him. Like,
well, like
no.
you gotta remember, Joss Whedon even said, "In my world, Coulson is always dead," even though my brother produced that series.
I mean,
yeah.
And also, Coulson's death was the thing that united them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
they
always
needed
made me
something
want
to
to know.
avenge.
Yeah, that's what made me not interested
fine.
in the show initially.
It's fine in the moment where, like, him dying to unite the Avengers is fine. The problem is they brought him back,
Yeah.
and so, like,
From
Or
Tahiti.
on paper his sacrifice means nothing because, like,
Yeah.
he's fucking right there.
Yeah, but so I'm remembering something that I don't know if I repressed it or if I just forgot because it's been 10 years. I did not actually see the Nick Fury scene in theaters. So
Really?
for an
What?
extra month after everybody else, I didn't know that there was anything to be excited about. But I did
Surprise.
see The Incredible Hulk opening night.
Wow.
With my younger brother. And
That's interesting.
we stayed till the credits on that one. And for those
So
who
you
don't
saw
remember,
that weird post-credit sequence?
Where
yeah,
Tony Stark shows up.
oh yeah, he
Yeah.
shows up.
Where
And that was
Thunderbolt
the-
Ross is drunk in a bar.
Yeah, he's like a bottle of whiskey deep at that point.
The weird part of like that whole sequence is why would he go to Ross?
I don't. Well, so they
No,
explained
here's
it
the
in
thing,
one of the short films
Yeah,
later.
they elaborate on it, but, like, even then, it's still totally puzzling because it's basically what it
It's
actually
basically-
is. It's a larger explanation as to why the Abomination is no longer seen, like,
Right.
no longer referenced.
Basically,
Really, all it does.
basically, it's like Ross wanted to loan the Abomination to S.H.I.E.L.D. as an Avenger, potentially.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
And Tony
To-
was sent.
To deter him, Tony was sent to be the liaison, so Ross would be like, "No, fuck this."
Yeah, basically.
Also, basically telling him not to look for.
So that completely kind of negates Ross's role in Civil War, though, doesn't it?
It is weird because we're supposed to understand that they do not like each other, and
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then they work together.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it says a lot about how much Tony grew in the ensuing 8 years.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're right.
Like it
See,
says,
and that's actually why I take issue with people who are like, "I'm Team Tony." I'm like, you do realize that he threw himself in with fucking Thunderbolt Ross, who was like a shifty, untrustworthy, kind of murderous psycho?
right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the people who are like, I hate Cap because of what he did in Civil War, those people I don't understand at all. Those people, the people who root for Tony because Cap was unfair or whatever, that always made no sense to me.
Well, going back to the whole Team Tony thing and blah, 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 like, don't people also realize that Tony Stark throwing in with Thunderbolt Ross is doing exactly what he stopped producing at Stark Industries? He's jumping back into the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, I mean, that's what made Civil War going into it so interesting, is that Cap and Tony had switched places in terms of alignment.
Yeah.
Interesting. I hadn't actually thought about it that way.
Just if you think of it like this, Cap became the guy who doesn't trust the government and doesn't trust the establishment.
Yep.
Who doesn't want overhead, who doesn't want oversight. Tony became the guy who is desperately in need of oversight and who will welcome
and that's
it.
I'm glad actually we veered off to this, because I've always said like Tony's arc from Iron Man 1 is really interesting, because he goes from someone who trusts the government, blah blah blah, loses faith in that, kind of wants to become like a little more, he wants to become more helpful, he wants to be a better person, and then slowly becomes Dr. Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when Ultron happens, he basically is.
But it's all because...
And then effectively skirts responsibility by laughing it off. That's why Thor fucking chokes him.
It's because he's afraid. He's afraid, so he makes the wrong choices in order to make up for his fear and to satisfy his fear. But it always goes wrong.
The one thing I've always found fascinating about Tony, especially in his path to Civil War, it's like he made a career after making the wrong choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And even after he has this like huge change of heart, he still makes them. And the thing is, he thinks he's making the right one by signing with the government, and like, but it's like at the same, he's not. Like he's just doing the same thing, and he doesn't realize it.
We talked about this, Arlen, Eric Sayer, and myself on Los Haro podcast about Iron Man 3 and his post-traumatic stress disorder from going through the wormhole into space,
right,
and then nearly dying and him just going crazy.
Yeah, that everything led to the next thing. Him having post-traumatic stress leads him to wanting to create Ultron. Him realizing Ultron was a mistake ultimately leads to him realizing that he needs people to tell him no.
In Tony's mind, solutions always scale upwards, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Every solution has to be bigger and badder than the previous one, and that's how we get Ultron, is because he just doesn't want to fucking just sit down and like just consider his options before attempting to like basically win a game before it starts.
Right. And it goes to that thing, that Cap says in Avengers 2 that I've always loved, which is, so what if we lose? We'll do it together. We'll do it as a team. And Tony not being able to like realize that all you can really do is what you can with the moment. You really can't plan for these things.
He's impetuous, and I mean that shines through quite a bit in Iron Man. Just in Iron Man 1, like, I've got this idea. Yeah, let's build this. All right, I don't want to test this on anything. I just need to use it on myself. All right, let's see how this goes.
Yeah. And he builds it not knowing that Stain is going to get a hold of it. Like, he builds his own first villain. I mean, it really is like, this movie is like a metaphor for the entirety of his arc throughout all of these stories. He always creates the next thing that he's going to face in these movies.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I like that. I don't know much else to say about Iron Man in general. Other than the fact that like I fucking love it, and like it's still fantastic.
The
I was shocked.
Giwaldi score is great.
Oh, he did.
He does Game of Thrones every
He also, I want to say he scored. It's like the best thing about this otherwise unremarkable remake. I think he scored Clash of the Titans.
He did.
And
really?
the best thing about that movie is the fucking score. It is awesome.
Certainly not
go
Sam
back
Witwer.
to
That's
I'll
for
have to
sure.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Well, not Sam Whitworth.
Worthington.
Sam
Remember when
Witwer,
he was?
great guy.
Remember when he was supposed to do the next big thing?
Remember when Sam Worthington was in the most financially successful movie of all time, and then dropped off the face of the earth?
Remember
Yeah.
when James
Too bad that
Cameron
movie's
announced
bad.
he was going to make a sequel to it 10 years ago?
And that was gonna be set underwater. All of it
The
underwater.
movie that he continues to threaten us with?
Oh, you mean the movie that Disney recently opened a theme park part of their entire
God.
park?
There's nothing. I really hate Avatar. Like, I don't know if you guys know this. I really fucking hate that movie. But there's nothing more annoying than people who are super into Avatar.
Really?
Like,
Well, here's the thing. It's like, here's my thing with Avatar. I'm not really veer off course at this point, but how the fuck do you make a movie that goes on to be like literally the most financially successful film of all time? It made $3 billion at the box office. It was playing in theaters until well after the DVD came out, which never happens, and it left no cultural footprint whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the best.
because it's a bad
point.
movie. How about that?
Well,
Is
no,
that
because
okay?
like,
think
how many quotes can any of us think of that movie?
I just think of the fucking stupid unobtainium thing, and I'm like, wow, fuck this.
The only thing that comes to mind is "I see you." That's it. That's the only thing.
And it's that's stupid.
It's really dumb.
Sam Rockwell was great in it.
I think partially the
They got-
reason why
they
that
got-
movie.
They got
I think-
fucking Ripley in that movie.
And she dies
honestly
and becomes
heard-
as a blue lady, as a.
I want to say partially the reason why that movie also did so well in the theaters is because it was the new form of 3D that quickly fizzled that I think a lot of people were impressed by. Like, I never got to see it in the theaters in 3D.
That was part of it, and also if you. A lot of time travel we're doing in this episode. If you travel back to 2009 and you remember, this is the first movie James Cameron had done since Titanic. And Titanic, unlike Avatar, hasn't had the same like pushback in recent years. Like Titanic, it's still loved even now.
It's a good movie. That's why.
Yeah, like people still love that movie. And if you remember the marketing, they pulled out James Cameron's entire resume to sell that movie. They pulled the trailer opens, the director of Terminator, Aliens. They even brought up The Abyss in one of the trailers, which is
What?
which is great. They bring up The Abyss. They bring up True Lies and Terminator 2. They didn't leave one of them out. I mean, if there's one you're not going to leave out, it's Terminator 2. But and they bring up Titanic, so they sell you on the fact that it's James Cameron. He hasn't directed anything in 10 years. And Eric is right. 3D was such a fad, and it was such a part of the marketing, and like, you need to see this in 3D, that's why the movie became so big.
Well, and that was what James Cameron was hanging his hat on with it too. Is that like I've invented this new form of 3D that's going to revolutionize everything.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Surprise.
hey, I have a 3D TV, and it is really nice at times when you're watching a 3D Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But
I once tried to play the Arkham Asylum 3D edition on my standard tube television.
oh no, don't do that.
Because it comes with, like, you just go into options in the video settings and just turn it to 3D mode, and it comes with little cardboard glasses that are purple and green. It's fucking, it's whatever. I put them on. Within 2 minutes, I wanted to fucking die. Like, it was the most nauseating experience I've ever had in a video game. And like, I played Portal like 4 inches away from my screen and almost made myself sick. This was like, I put it on. I was like, whoever thought of this should be fucking flogged.
No, playing a video game in 3D is no, it's a bad idea.
Do you want to do a little kind of mini state of the MCU?
I guess. I mean,
Fucking Black Panther is soon, and Black Panther has apparently sold more
Yeah.
tickets ahead of its release than
Dude.
Civil War.
I am
I'm so excited.
so excited for that.
yeah.
I like the
minute
fact that the Make Black Panther Cool push fucking worked.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about
I mean,
that
it worked
is,
when Civil War came out. Like,
Yeah.
I think Black Panther's always been cool. It's
Oh no,
just
that's what I mean. I'm talking about the specifically the Civil War presentation and how they were
Yeah,
basically
no, they nailed it. They nailed it.
yeah.
Well, and it's also their marketing is very savvy. Like pulling in Kendrick Lamar to be the curator of the soundtrack and also helping with the soundtrack is
not even
an amazing slam dunk.
Not even that. I really like the actor they got for.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
Black Panther. Yeah, like that guy is awesome.
Yeah,
like,
and Michael B. Jordan as the villain is, as far as I can tell, that's a great choice so far.
Dude looks like he's been eating nothing but creatine for like 6 years.
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck?
Which is crazy because he was so big in Creed, and somehow he got
bigger.
He is frightening in Creed.
Right.
He looks.
He could break all of us in half. He could break all of us in half.
But I think with Creed, he was supposed to look like kind of this like speedy.
He's a middleweight, isn't he?
Like agility. Yeah, like an agility machine.
Yeah.
And someone who can take damage. But like now he looks like a fucking, he looks inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even in like just the way he like I've seen like posters and just like the way he looks, you're just like, whoa.
I'm glad he's getting this too because I really wanted him to have some kind of redemption after Fantastic Four.
Rest in peace.
Because I'm imagining he was probably fairly excited to do Fantastic Four, and then all the fucking shit that happened afterwards happened.
Yeah.
He was just part of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
He is, but imagine being in Michael B. Jordan's shoes, is because people hated him for taking that role too. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Because of the color of his skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
which is
the movie comes out and
ludicrous.
and then it's bombs. Like, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a story for another time. Very.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you guys watch that.
Says
soon.
the old man as he closes his ancient tome.
Our 10-year rule. So.
I forgot. Never mind.
So it'll be 2025, but
Never mind. I'm gonna get real drunk and watch that movie soon.
I do want to bring up one last thing from the movie is the ending. We got to talk about the ending of Iron Man.
The no secret identities. That's
right. That changed everything. Like, that altered these movies forever. Because you got to think of it. Before then, all of these movies were tied down by the same exact plot of explaining why these people just don't tell everybody who they are.
No, it's the only cool thing they lifted in the Ultimates, I think, is the idea that they are like pop culture celebrities.
Yeah.
And like that their faces would be everywhere. You would merchandise the fuck out of a superhero if he was real.
Yeah, you would have action figures.
I have to hide my face. It only really works in comic books because in the MCU, like how you would immediately know it was Tony Stark.
Right, like the bodyguard thing. I remember being a kid.
Excuse.
It's laughable.
It's the worst excuse. Like, I'm just saying, like, in the movies it works really well. Like, Peter Parker has a secret identity, and he's the only one that should, in my opinion. Honestly.
You know what's funny about that is that they immediately also backed up on that and had fucking Aunt May see him.
Yeah. And the funniest part of that whole movie.
And I love that they call back this movie in Homecoming.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they call back in Homecoming at the end. When Tony is like, okay, you're part of the Avengers now, you have to announce your identity. You're going to go out there in front of a press room, and you're going to tell everybody who you are. Like, it's a direct callback to this movie. And I love the fact that they did that. That they call back to it, and then they just completely undo it. Like, Peter has the option to make the same choice.
But at the same time, that's the thing that he's like, oh god, I can't do this. Like, it just works.
But then they subvert it again by giving Aunt May his identity. So it's just I love it.
So we've talked about Infinity War like to death.
Yeah. I
mean, and I can't believe how we are now in 2018, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, we've been closer to Infinity War than we were when we recorded this.
We'll be 2 weeks away by the time you're hearing this, folks. So
I cannot fucking wait. Oh,
I'm gonna have to destroy anything with a screen near me for those last 2 weeks. I cannot hear anything about these movies.
I
think,
kind of want to actually talk.
Do you think
about...
Andy's gonna shut down his Facebook account again?
No, because he doesn't care about Marvel as much. He only does this for Star Wars.
Wow! Ooh,
Yeah.
calling out Andy. Love you, BB.
I'll love him when he undoes our curse.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I want to talk about that too because, like, looking back on this and then looking at DC's recent, ever since this movie came out, what did we have? Green Lantern?
Yeah.
That was 2011.
Yeah.
Like the fucking like. It's Warner Brothers. I know it's Warner Brothers, but DC's name's attached to it. Like, just the string of trips and stumbles along the way to like Justice League, which is like a fucking half-hearted, like, you did it,
Right.
Good job.
And
Bob-
like, to see that Marvel's movies have not fucking lost any steps
No,
whatsoever,
they haven't.
and now like Infinity War's coming out, and I think DC and Warner Brothers are starting to announce like, yeah, these next few movies will be kind of standalone-ish, like not really all connected, stuff like that, you know.
But like,
Yeah.
Well, Iron Man. Well, this whole thing kind of. Remember, Green Lantern inadvertently gave us the Arrowverse.
Wait,
It did.
What?
Technically, it did. So.
oh no, because Guggenheim, right?
Well, everybody. So all
Guggenheim, Berlanti, Kreisberg.
Yeah, the entire
Holy
main writing
shit.
team, they all worked on Green Lantern,
Wow.
and the movie
They
got
went
taken
from
away
that
from
to
them.
this. They went from that to that.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Well,
well, it's funny because like Marvel
What a
TV,
triumph.
I don't think Marvel TV is that spectacular, and yeah, the CW stuff is soapy, but it's also like it also relishes the fact that it's a comic book show.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It loves it.
It's
Yeah, it does.
got good. Is what I tell people who are like, why do you watch that? It's like it's got really good heart because it's like
Yeah.
it's not afraid of what it is.
Oh, it's so fucking sincere. Like everybody's in a dumb looking suit, and like Brainiac looks like a fucking Mantalunan from this island Earth.
Even, like, whenever the crossovers happen, we get so excited. Like
Yeah.
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 they're good.
Um,
Like
The-
yeah,
I think the Marvel TV side is lifeless. I don't I don't want to count Netflix because Netflix is its own thing and has its own set of standards and rules and stuff like that and how the content operates. But I think Marvel TV on like cable TV is fucking sterile.
I think the part of the problem is that it's on ABC.
And it's all
Or
disorganized.
Freeform. Yeah, and it's on Freeform.
It's
And
on. Well,
and
ABC is
Inhumans
involved in all of them, technically.
Yeah,
But-
yes.
And that's the problem.
You watch them, and they're very typical ABC shows.
And
I
also-
think like the only really huge, like I'm not even gonna say Iron Fist because I think it actually pales in comparison to the fucking did Inhumans fail? Because I haven't heard a fucking
Yes, it
thing
did.
about
It
it.
It failed.
It's-
Yeah, they canceled it. They're not bringing it back for another season. They're not. But I mean, I've
There's
said this
no
many
way.
times. Ike has direct control of the TV side. He has
Yeah.
direct control. He has the ability to say yes and no. There is no Feige for the TV side. Feige isn't even involved in the TV side, which is why the TV side is so
that's
disorganized.
Jeff Loeb.
Yeah, but even Jeff Loeb.
Man.
Jeff Loeb.
And Hunter. What is
doesn't
he famous
have-
for?
Jeff,
Ultimatum.
don't stop.
Look,
Daredevil
okay,
Yellow.
Here's what he's famous
Stop.
for in my book. He's famous for Long Halloween and Dark Victory. End of story. Anyway, yeah, I think it speaks to Marvel's movie formula that like their only real misstep. I mean, well, I guess all their media properties in general, like the only real fuck up is Inhumans.
Yeah.
Like that's the only actual failure, and it took them how many years to get to?
And
A
it's
decade.
Ike's fault, so it's extra gratifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's
And Inhumans life as a show is weird because it started as a movie featuring Vin Diesel.
yeah. Like,
Well, I
the TV
also-
side.
I wanted the movie to happen so bad. It would
Me
have been so
too.
much better.
I
It would
also
have been
kind
so
of
much
wonder.
better.
I also kind of wonder if the TV show, at least with Inhumans, it didn't do as well because the general public is starting to realize, oh, there's a clear separation between Marvel TV and Marvel movies.
That
I think I think at the beginning they didn't understand that, but
Yeah.
now people are finally beginning to see that.
I think you're right. I think that people are realizing it just on a level of quality and consistency. Like, I know there are people who like the entirety of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they don't like the Ghost Rider stuff. Those people, again, are fucking crazy and nuts. And
They're wrong.
They're all completely wrong.
they're wrong.
They're nitwits.
You know who you are, Ed Bauman.
Why?
I know I had to point him out just because Just because.
Throwing our boy under the bus immediately.
Well, no, he gives us so much shit over the DC stuff. So much, but he didn't like Ghost Rider. So I just got to point that out so people know. He didn't like Ghost Rider at all.
He said, and if you like Ghost Rider, please yell at me on Facebook. No, don't do that. I'm kidding. Stop. Stop.
But,
anyway, I wanted the Humans movie to happen too. And because I think in the time, I just kind of became aware of who. I'm like, what the fuck are Humans? Looked up Black Bolt. I was like, that guy's cool as fuck. I want to.
No, Black Bolt is the coolest Marvel character that no one knows about.
Also, to have him played by Vin Diesel is perfect because Vin Diesel doesn't say a goddamn word and just looks scary.
It's also really interesting because he lends his likeness to Black Bolt and then voices Groot.
That would have been great. It would have been great if all that happened, but it didn't.
So it could have been cheeky.
Instead, they made. This is my biggest problem with Inhumans. It reminds me of the 70s Hulk show in terms of quality.
That should not be a thing. No. That's really bad.
What about Iron
Fist? I mean, since we never really spoke about it, like, because we refused to watch it, but, like, there's something to be said about, like, I mean, we know Scott Buck from Iron Fist, but, like, the shortcuts he takes that I'm aware of for Inhumans are insulting. Doesn't he shave Medusa's head in this, like, second episode?
No, it's the first episode.
Oh, fuck off. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
What's the point?
What is the point?
Shitty quality. So we recorded these close together to bring them up. So we really haven't brought up Steel at all. We brought up Iron Man a couple times during that recording, but we recorded them pretty close to each other because of the similarities.
Tangential connection.
This movie makes LA feel like a character. LA is a part of this movie. In a really weird way, and it sort of comes to the thing that I've always thought: nobody's done a superhero that makes LA seem cool, and no other superhero has claimed that city the way Iron Man does.
I don't think there's many people. There's not many people who have decided to take a city and make it just as important as everything else. Like Nolan took Gotham and was like, I have a very clear vision of what I want this place to look like. Mm-hmm. And, did that 3 different fucking ways, for God's sake. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think what you're saying it's, LA of all places, too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think superhero movies generally happen in the New York area, so.
Yeah. And then Steel, which we talked about.
Hey, boy!
That was a movie we watched.
By the time that this comes out, you'll have all listened to that probably months ago, but
God.
So
it's still very fresh for us.
Did Steel also take place in LA?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
That's interesting because they kind of do the same thing with Steel because it's kind of, I don't know, it feels very urban-y. Mm-hmm. And the fucking I don't know, it just feels like LA.
Wait. I thought it was Chicago.
No, it's LA. It's Los Angeles. It's very clearly Los Angeles.
There's a line where they talk about Chicago, and for some reason my brain was like,
no,
yeah, Chicago.
They do go to St. Louis to get Annabeth. We're not going to redo the Steel podcast all over again.
No, we do. Let's talk about Steel again.
But no,
we've immortalized it. We don't need to do it again.
But no, there are things to talk about, though. Like, the fact that in Steel, we talked about the building of his suit and how it makes no sense, and how you just don't get any... You just don't believe any of it. And it feels like, well, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? I don't understand what's going on.
And then with Iron Man, the making of that suit is everything hinges on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and with the Iron Man suit in Iron Man 1 specifically, I had read that all of the HUD displays that are in there when he's flying were actually helped designed by an Air Force engineer. Right. So everything he's seeing actually has a real representation for what it's doing.
That's insane.
Which is if we're doing the Steel comparison, didn't at some point in the movie they say that he's wearing 75 pounds of metal?
Mm-hmm.
When he tackled that cop, he should have murdered him.
Right. That cop should be blood.
Shaq is 300 pounds.
When the grappling hook broke, he should have fallen through the center of the earth.
God damn it.
Yeah, there's that too. That fall, I don't care if you landed a dumpster, that fall would have fucked you up if you were just covered in metal.
Yeah.
Shaq leaves icy hot behind.
Because I'm sure it's not as cozy as an Iron Man suit. It just looks like it's fucking It looks like they used spirit gum and just adhered it to his skin and called it a day. Like, here we go. We use the stage glue. It'll be fine.
Oy.
You know,
Go ahead.
while I am looking forward to Infinity War, there's one thing I just wanted to happen. I just want to see one thing happen. One tiny little thing that was in Civil War happen again.
Mm.
Someone called Tony Stank.
Well, of course.
I think that's
Tony
gonna be in his contact information probably.
I think at some point someone's gonna roll it and be like, "Hello, Mr. Stank."
Tony
Probably.
Stank?
But yeah, I don't know.
Do we want to just real quickly just gloss over Stan Lee?
So, okay, people are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but I don't care. The Daily Mail is the UK equivalent of the National Enquirer.
Yeah, it's
So
a trash. It's a trash site.
Take any allegations they give you with a grain of salt. But Stanley is not a saint.
That being said, just because he's mummified comic book grandpa, you should not hold him on any different of a pedestal than you do anybody else. And if these allegations come out, first of all, let's just talk about Stan Lee as a person. He was a young adult when it was appropriate and accepted to smack a woman on the ass in the workplace, when women's role in society was to be, you stay at home with an apron on and cook dinner.
Right.
But
like,
it's
so
not.
this...
I am not making excuses for
Right.
it. What I am trying to say is that his behavior, and if people are accusing him of sexual misconduct, it's completely believable.
Right.
it is. No, I don't.
And
I'm not.
when this first came out, when I first heard about this, I thought it was all like people from the '60s. I didn't realize it was current nurses. I didn't realize it was like people who are still alive. I thought it was like, secretaries at Marvel back in the old days.
Oh God.
Which would be completely different. And then I found out that it was younger people, and then I found out the Daily Mail was the source. So I went through a roller coaster with this story of being like, it's not that.
It's a weird story where you have to take it with a grain of salt, and also at the same time, look at it and go, yeah, that could totally happen.
Yeah.
It probably did happen.
And you know what? Like I said, he's no saint. He's not.
No.
No,
he's
a career backstabber.
Right.
Yep.
What you working on, Ma?
One of my bigger things too is that I'm sure these nurses were aware, and I'm not trying to victim blame here. I'm really not. But them being aware of a 95-year-old man who's probably suffering the beginning stages of dementia.
And his wife
honest.
died recently too.
And once again, this does not excuse any sexual misconduct on his part. The fact that they would go to the Daily Mail and talk about his issues and also him sexually harassing them, like, that is a clear violation of any type of contract they would have had with him.
True.
I mean,
to be working
it's
as
one
healthcare
thing.
workers.
It's one thing to bring it up at to your boss or something. Like,
That's the appropriate channel.
yeah.
I don't even mean the sexual harassment and the sexual misconduct charges. I mean, just from what I know of the Daily Mail article, they were talking about some of his ailments, like his actual medical issues.
Oh no, that's
clear
breaking
violation.
Yeah, doctor-patient confidentiality.
That's fucked.
That's I mean, HIPAA violations, various other things, and that's what automatically makes me think that there's something afoot with all of these accusations.
And again, I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm just saying.
And
Also,
consider the source.
Not that I'm going to say this. Also, this is an excuse. This isn't a statement to declare him innocent. The man is what, 91?
95, I think.
What exactly do you expect anyone to do about it right now?
Also, I really
And that's
never...
not to make it. That's not saying it's okay, but what he did. But if you're gonna go through the process of dragging this man through the mud publicly and maybe even trying to fucking civil suit, I mean, by the time the trial takes place, he might be dead.
That's
also, don't
completely
forget
fair.
that people have been stealing money from him lately.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
quite a lot.
And again,
It's
this
fucked up.
isn't a defense of him again either. But I never really knew my grandpa, but I know the stories of what he was like before he died and when he was in a nursing home. He was a feisty guy. He wasn't handsy, but he wasn't appropriate. Older people tend to be very
a lot of it is they're lonely, too.
Right.
Like, and again, not an excuse, but like it's just a fact.
Yeah, it's just like if Stan Lee
Here,
was anybody else, this would not be a story.
If Stan Lee was anybody else, or if Stan Lee was 30 years younger, you'd be like, yeah, let's press this as far as I can go. But I'm gonna bring up something that actually happened in wrestling that long ago that I think Arlen you'll even find interesting. It's not directly wrestling; it just relates to
You're talking about Snuka?
I am talking about Jimmy Snuka because Jimmy Snuka, way back in the 80s, had a girlfriend die under weird circumstances.
He killed her.
Yeah, I know this story. I know this story a little bit.
And the evidence was largely ignored. Some people believe it was a cover-up and blah, blah, blah. I don't go that far, but, like, poorly handled? Yeah, sure. Especially when, like, the autopsy report has, like, damning evidence. But, like, by the time the evidence mounted to bring this man to trial, Jimmy Snuka was so fucking fried for being a wrestler and drugs and all kinds of other stuff that, like, he didn't even know where he was half the time. So there's no point in putting that man on trial. What do you do? Put him in prison?
Right.
The man's body's a prison.
Did he have stomach cancer?
I don't even fucking know, but like his
Honestly,
brain was
I thought you were
busted.
going to bring up what happened with Vern Gagne. How we killed that man in the retirement home.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah, no, there's
Wait a minute. What?
Alan just did his typical Alan thing. And
Okay,
said something.
someone needs to tell me right now how Vern Gagnon killed a man. Because that dude, there's no way. I don't believe you.
No, he was great. Like he was big. He was a classic wrestler, Greco-Roman,
Yeah, big old fucking strongman looking dude.
and he had Alzheimer's,
Oh no.
and he attacked another patient, and the guy died.
I mean, here's the thing. I think this is what we're all waiting for. When you say he attacked him, did he like think he was in a wrestling ring again?
I don't know.
Because while that's not funny, it's certainly fascinating.
This is a tragic situation, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
But yeah, the whole point of that whole story is like Snuka was so old and so decrepit that
Right.
I think they just said like you're unfit for trial. Like if and like I mean if you decide to pursue legal action against Stan Lee, I'm not going to say no, don't do that. But do you really want to roll the dice on, putting a 91-year-old man through? Not that I'm trying, again, not defending him. It's just that, do you want to take the time to fucking due process this dude when he could die before it all goes down?
Okay.
Yeah.
He body slammed home roommate.
I thought you were talking about Stan
okay.
Lee.
Oh,
That's tragic, but at the same time, kind of funny.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
But no, and quite frankly, if he's guilty, he's guilty. Like, I'm not going to rush to his defense. I think I saw someone on Facebook, he will not be named, he's my bad take friend, was like, we need to rush to his defense. I'm like, no, we don't.
No.
Yeah, like
We don't.
He's an old man. He should be treated
A,
like an old man.
Like, A, let the evidence come forward, and let's see what's the deal is. And B, like, you don't need to rush to anyone's defense.
No.
Like, he's a fucking old-ass man. He does not need you.
Say tomorrow it comes out Grant Morrison ate a baby. Like, I'm going to be like, that sucks. I really like Allan, man, but that
Were you
sucks.
reaching for things that might be possible?
Yeah. I don't know. He could eat a baby. He seems like a type.
Nah, Alan Moore strikes me more as the guy who would unhinge his jaw and slowly swallow the baby down his throat like a snake.
For snake
Deb-
god.
Go full Deborah Lope with someone.
No, because it's Voldemort.
That's
Obviously.
true. But no, I don't see the reason to jump the defense of someone just because you like their work. I liked What Culture, and then it turns out that Plumpy, one of the commentators and one of the people featured prominently in What Culture, is kind of a creep. So I was like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, can't
I was
enjoy
like,
that anymore.
I was like, that blows. I can't enjoy your work on What Culture anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
I bought Baby Driver 2 months ago. I haven't watched Baby Driver again yet.
Yeah, there's no reason to jump to
Yeah.
the defense of these. Like, you can sit quietly and be like, I mean, what if it's not true? But like, to sit there and get your shield ready because someone accused Stan Lee of sexual misconduct, sit down.
Yeah.
wait, why mention Baby Driver?
Kevin
Kevin
Spacey.
Spacey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if I should now.
You should. It's good.
It's good.
It's the same. Here's the thing. The main event of WrestleMania 20 is still fine, even though Chris Benoit's in it because he's a great wrestler.
I will say I will say this: it's harder to watch Baby Driver because of the subject matter. And
yes,
because Kevin Spacey found the titular baby when he was a little boy.
No.
It adds some other level of weirdness to it that wouldn't be there.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Just, my view is don't punish the ensemble cast because one member of it is a terrible shitbag.
I still bought the movie. It's just that I bought it 2 days before the Anthony Rapp stuff came out.
Gotcha.
It was like, I bought the movie. I'm gonna watch this with my parents this weekend.
It's one thing to not line the pockets of a convicted pedophile with the Jeepers Creepers movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like you're directly benefiting a man who committed a serious crime and is still out in the world.
Yeah. I've never watched the movie Powder ever. Fuck him.
Oh my god. He made that?
He made that.
God damn it. But where was I going with this? To condemn an entire work of art most times, condemn someone's work because they're a shitty person isn't really necessary.
I will say this. I was watching House of Cards in the middle of all the Kevin Spacey thing, and it made it real hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Ultimately, this will not affect Stan Lee's legacy in the comic book world. Like you said, he's not exactly a saint, so this would be just one more strike against him.
Mm-hmm.
No.
The other side of that is, like, he has lots of strikes in his favor.
Yeah.
So,
again, he's an old man. If he was any of our grandpas, any of ours, and this happened, this story wouldn't be a story.
And this is all coming from 4 straight white dudes. So I don't know what it's like to be a woman and be harassed in the workplace. However, if hypothetically, if someone listened to this was one of those nurses, I fucking support you. I'm not trying to rail against your case.
No, we're just saying, like, what? I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish. And even more so, like, I don't understand why they would go to the Daily Mail of all places.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's my biggest issue right now is until more reputable sources actually report this, not just quote the Daily Mail, it's hard for me to believe it. Not because I don't believe the subject matter could have happened, just because of what the Daily Mail is known for.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're in an era of literally fake news. So
yeah, and like
that's a term now.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Not that it's a term I fucking hate because it's used inappropriately. Like the real kinds of fake news or stuff that generates from like some fucking
they're Russian
fake
websites.
News, it's like these kind of cruddy, low-budget Russian websites that just generate garbage.
Mm-hmm. Because KGB's been doing this for a very long time.
That fucking fact-checking and like reverse researching and all kinds of stuff like that, and like just trying to figure out where your source comes from. It's hard nowadays. So
if you want to know about the deepest and worst fake news perpetrators, you would talk to the CIA and the deep state government.
Or tune in to Alex Jones and buy
Alex Jones is
our lead line steaks that protect you from radiation.
He and I have been working on a Sonic Vor comic.
Okay, please stop. Anyway, final word. Like, if Stanley is innocent, he's innocent. If he's guilty, fucking well.
Oh well, yeah. He's 95 years old. He's gonna die soon, anyways.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he will be remembered in his final days as someone who's going to be a pervert. Still gonna read comic books. It's not really good. It's not gonna change much.
No.
It's important to talk about. It's not gonna change much.
It's important. It's important to like believe the stories and like be like on the side of the person telling the story and take it seriously.
Right.
But at the same time,
take the source into account also.
Yeah. Taking into account, he's 95 years old. It comes from the UK equivalent of the National Enquirer. Like,
yep.
Relax, calm your tits.
Yeah, the people who are responsible for Bat Boy.
Boy.
Yeah, they're the ones who broke the story.
I think we can wrap now.
Yeah.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
So I'm Connor McGraw. This has been the mostly Iron Man Phantom Zone discussion. You can find me pretty soon on Movie Dumpster. We just recorded our episode today for Sukiyaki Western Django. I think my opening words were, I don't know what I just experienced. Because it's kind of bad. But the full launch of Movie Dumpster is very soon. We're like 99% there. So
By the time you're listening to this, it will be...
It'll be out and done, and we'll have several more episodes in the can.
Yeah.
I think for this run we are doing an all Asia stretch.
Oh,
Wow,
I think we're
interesting.
nothing but Japanese, Korean, and Chinese movies. So.
That you guys are gonna be real busy because there are a lot of bad ones.
Well, we don't necessarily want to go with bad all the time. We just go with unique and interesting and fun to talk
like,
about.
okay, I see what you're going for. Yeah, like obscure, kind of.
Yeah, novelty is what I describe.
Novelty's good. Yeah.
But, yeah, so I guess, AA Haro, spacecolumbo.tumblr.com. By the time you're listening to this, our Avengers Infinity War review will be coming soon. I can't speak for what our future selves will be like, or whether or not we'll actually get into the theater in time to review it.
Oh, I'm going.
I will.
I have to.
I'm gonna be there.
Dude, I will push a child.
I don't care. Like, if some poor woman is my girlfriend at that time, she's getting dragged in that theater.
Funny, actually, real quick, funny story about Movie Dumpster today and having girlfriends. We were getting ready to go, and Joe gets home, and he's like, yeah, I'm just getting some dinner. And he's like, Julie's going to feed me a little bit. You get some dinner for me a little bit. Sean comes in and goes, yeah, Sarah just got home. Going to eat real quick. I'm like, I'm just going to finish this round Injustice 2 real fast, and I'll be ready. You can tell which one of us is a single man. Anyway, plug your shit, everybody, or say goodbye.
Anybody else want to plug anything?
I'm off. I'm on a very long. I'm hoping it will be a very long hiatus on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram though at StrokeGodMillionaire. Other than that, not really.
You can find me on Instagram under Eric_Fedor. Puppy pictures. That's really about it, man.
Hell yeah, we're showing them puppies.
Mm-hmm. Alan, anything?
Allan?
All right.
No.
That
was great.
My mic was muted.
I thought you were just going to go, nah.
No. This is important.
Okay.
You can find me on Twitter at ThisGingerBurns.
Okay. This will be coming out at the end of April.
God, that was good.
So you have just promised to keep that Twitter account and that Twitter name until then. That's what you've just done.
I'm not. I don't plan on changing it.
Arlen,
I
I almost pictured you putting your elbow on a desk and putting your chin on your fist, going like, "Okay, okay, what are you about to say, huh? What you got?"
That's me all the time. Also, by the way, General Allan is Lewis's dad from The Punisher, so that's a thing.
What the fuck? They're connected. It's all connected.
So yeah, that's a thing. I guess this is bye because Allan did his plugs. So fuck X-Men Apocalypse.
Fuck X-Men Apocalypse, everybody.
Bye.
Fuck you, Twitter.
Bye,
Also,
everybody.
I went on Twitter recently and tried to get blocked by the president by calling him a cunt 16 times. Did see the
Connor's trying to
Damn.
get on a list for the future execution camps. Bye.
Fast lane, bitches.